Connor Unchained, we are back today. We are going to be talking about Star Heroes today. So, I actually just released a video talking about Star Heroes, but I realized there were one or two things that were definitely off that I could not just leave up. So, I'll get into that in a few minutes, but I want to just talk about Star Heroes because this is a very interesting gaming project that, like I said, I want to get into. We'll talk about a little bit, we'll talk about the chart, we'll talk about some tokenomics, and we'll get pretty deep into it. So let's get it. So Star Heroes was just launched on the 12th, which is now about a day ago. When you're going to see this, it's probably going to be maybe 2 days. But it's a multiplayer galactic combat game, I guess, if you want to call it. Star Heroes, the first multiplayer third-person shooter, space shooter designed for esports. With its top-quality dynamic and competitive gameplay, Star Heroes provides players with what they crave most: true gaming emotions. So, it sounds pretty interesting. I do like that when they say esports, like they really aren't joking. They have been doing a lot when it comes to esports already. I think they just tweeted about something here, and they did have an airdrop, which is pretty interesting. Let's see, decentralized esports tournament with the record-breaking pool of 1.5 million, and I guess their game is around 3 weeks away from launching, which is pretty interesting. So I assume as far as esports, I feel like it's not really a thing in Web3 gaming specifically, mainly because a lot of Web3 games just aren't at that level. They're just not very good, in which many people even want to participate in them. But I guess we'll see how this game is when it launches. We'll see how it goes. And again, if they got hefty wins as far as for their tournaments, it's probably going to draw a lot of people to want to play. So I could see this game specifically getting a lot of demand, mainly for that as well. So we're going to dive into the chart here. So on my previous video, I literally just dropped, I was looking at only on Deck Screener here. So this is a project that raised a good amount of funds for pre-seed, I think pre-sale, pre-seed, public sale. They did a bunch of rounds, and looking at it here, sitting at 3 million. I think this is completely wrong. Usually the other place that I always check, which is cryptorank.io, if you are not familiar. CryptoRank 90% of the time has the correct market caps over Deck Screener or Dex Tools. If you see it, it looks different. I usually almost always go by this platform, especially when they deal with talking about the token sale and the tokenomics a lot, which they will for specific projects, and they actually go in depth with it here in 4-Star Heroes specifically. But I'm not going to dive into the tokenomics here. I'm going to use their website in a second. But they do have the vesting listed here. Vesting we'll get into as well. So let's just dive in real quick to the tokenomics. Let me see how did I get to this page before? I don't know, but I'm just going to copy and paste this link. Yeah, we're gonna go to tokenomics. So we can see this here. So they had for foundation seed round, pilot community round, public sale, Bybit, IDO. A couple things I'm not too sure, what they would actually be for. Because initially when I see a locked down war chest, I was kind of interested into seeing what that exactly was. And that's where I hit this tab right here. It brought me to this page. So this is an overview of basically every single piece of where their funds are allocated into. This is just a big description, or not a big description, but a description of each individual part. Like their public sale, Bybit, IDO, GameSwift DAO, Treasury. And so the locked DAO war chest, which this pool is intended to be used. Value of the star token. The tokens might be used for such purposes as investments, potential mergers and acquisitions, as well as strategic token swaps. So, bottom line, it looks like the reason why I want to bring this up is because this is a massive percent of their supply that they have locked up. And then if we go back to Star Heroes, you can see it right here, which is right here. Their locked down war chest, just over a third, of their entire allocation is going to be in there. So, when you have a third of an allocation where, if you never looked into that, you didn't know exactly what that really meant. Sometimes, like, you'll even see something here, and it's going to have, like, unavailable. I think they actually said unavailable. Yeah. So you can see, like, just based on the color, locked out war chest, it says it's untracked, data unavailable here. But they do list some of the vesting here as well. So something to take note for this is that I think it was right here. Okay, so their market cap right now is sitting at around 17 million, 18. We're going to go back to the overview here. So it's in around 17 million in market cap. Fully diluted is 545 million. So the thing that I wanted to bring up, I'm going to pull up the chart as well and just go into a couple things with that. But something to definitely note here is that the circulating supply is very small currently, mainly because, again, the game just launched. And, if you ever look at a lot of games that launch, most of the time their circulating supply, unless there's other reasons for them to unlock a ton of their tokens, when it's a heavily backed project, a lot of the times the circulating supply will be very tiny when it launches, which usually, though, is not the best sign when it comes to, investing in something right off the bat. When certain things happen like that, that is where you see charts pull things like in NKI, which I talk about all the time. Now, I'm not trying to say anything good or bad about NKI with this. I just want to use the chart for a reference. Because usually when you have a token sale, you have a lot of investors that are getting in, pre-seed. They're getting in very low for whatever sale, private round, public sale, public round, seed allocation, whatever you want to call it. Usually this is going to have some sort of launch, whether it does launch kind of spikes, or sometimes it'll launch just like this. It's going to just instantly, it'll dump, it'll mess around. But, over time, a lot of investors are going to be up already 5, 10, 20, 30, 50x on their investments, before the token was even launched, right? So it only makes sense for a lot of those investors to want to sell, take their profits, and they're especially going to be taking profits once they see this chart is not continuing to move up and not continuing to move up and not continuing to move up, after a few days, a few weeks, and that's where some heavy price action to the downside stems from oftentimes. So that's why, like, even for NKI, again, I actually don't know what NKI did as far as any sales. I'm pretty sure they had a migration here, and I can't say, I'm not too sure, but some chart like this is kind of what I expect for Star Heroes, which was mainly my thesis and what I talked about in the last video as well anyways. But again, we're going to pull up the chart for Star Heroes. So we got, again, Star here. Avoid this, the price is correct, but just avoid the liquidity, avoid the market cap, and fully diluted there, because that is completely off. But like I said, so if we pull up a daily or a 4-hour, again, this is only a day old, so there's not much going on the chart here. But, with their vesting schedule, like, they're very, very clear and transparent with that, which I really like. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be a crazy amount of sell pressure that goes on with this project. Again, and what I mean by that is there's not going to be, 5-10% of the supply is going to dump every single week, every month. Like, it's very tracked out over a long span of time. So the sell pressure it's not going to impact on the market as much as, anyone would think. So I'm trying to pull that up right here too. So that's what I really like about this platform too, is depending on, again, certain coins they'll list the stuff, certain coins there's no info on it, but I'm glad they do have it for this one. But you can just see it lists every single allocation and if and when they got a cliff and when they start actually selling off. And so you can just kind of do simple math just by this. So public sale, that was 0.3%. So honestly, that's something you really don't even have to think about. But this was unlocked 100% right after this launched. But that's 0.3% of the supply is already out. People can do whatever they want with it. But it looks like, bottom line, they do have a lot of cliffs, which, if you don't know what a cliff is, that means right when a coin launches, depending on when you get in, whether it's a seed round or a public sale, a cliff is a set amount of time before you'd even get any sort of allocation actually back to you. So if you have a cliff of 1 year, that means, so you're going to invest, say, for example, into the seed round, or let's use 6 months because that's what the cliff is here. So you invested in the seed round. Let's say the seed round for Star Heroes was, 8 months ago, right? So you invested, let's say 10K for just numbers. 10K 8 months ago in the seed round, but the token just launched today. So it launched 8 months after you actually invested in it. But the cliff means that you're still going to have to wait 6 months now after this launched before you even start to get any of your actual token allocation for the game or for the token. And once that hits, then you're going to start getting your linear unlock, which basically just whatever is set for the token unlock after the cliff, is what you're going to be receiving for your tokens after you've invested in a pre-sale. So from an investment standpoint, or from us looking at it as an investment right now, it looks like there's a lot of cliffs. There's a lot of time before any sort of major-ish unlocks come. But as you can see here, there's not too much that's going to be unlocked. In April, 1% into 1.4% into 1.78% of the supply. So you can just see every single month that they're unlocking like pretty small amounts. And it's just, over the span of, again, a couple of years here, you're going to start seeing like this allocation, just dwindle down. So that's kind of what you want to see when it comes to a new token launch. Like, you just have to understand all these little intricate things when it comes to vesting, when it comes to cliffs, and just, when you see a project like this have a lot of allocation for pre-sale. So that's what I wanted to mainly bring up, because I didn't really touch on that stuff before. I wasn't going to dive into it in the other video. But, after looking at it again, it's something I do want to touch on, because the main thing I wanted to bring up anyways in the other video, if you just saw that, is that I do believe there will be sell pressure for this coming, over the next few weeks into maybe a month, couple months. It's going to be a classic. I call it like a literal classic launch. When you have a really good hyped up launch, and especially with backing, especially with a lot of pre-seed, seed investments, private allocation, it's going to probably dump over the span of a few days, few weeks, no matter what. When you have people that are up a crazy amount, they're going to dump. And then after it dumps, it will consolidate. Eventually, it's going to find a bottom. Eventually, it might bounce, come back up. Eventually, it's going to look like it's about to rip, come back down, and then just eventually just go crazy. So, in my opinion, again, this is wrong, but looking at the entire chart here, let's say this is sitting around 17 million in market cap right now. At a minimum, I do expect this to pull back probably 30-40%, again, minimum from where we're at. So we could easily see this coin sitting at like in between 30 to 40 cents, in my opinion. Before I'd really be thinking about jumping in heavily. It could even go down to like 20 cents. But at the same time, this is not going to be 100% what happens every time. Sometimes these games, these coins, outside of everything that I just brought up, sometimes tokens will literally just start running. It's never going to be 100% this, but when it comes to me, when I look for long-term investments in crypto, when I see like a token projects like this, they fit my long-term criteria in a sense where I am personally waiting for the chart to show me this now. And if it doesn't show me this, then this is going to be something that I more than likely will miss unless the hype on it picks up like next level, and I'd be, losing out on the next biggest crypto game in the entire space, if I didn't jump in, even if it's starting to trend up. So bottom line, my thesis is that it is going to drop from here. And if it doesn't drop and it continues, then I might miss the boat on that because, again, that was not my thesis for it. But like I said, if we see this drop and continuously go down and go down, again, don't look at it as a bad thing. It will be a great thing for the long-term growth of this, because you will have a lot of these pre-sale, pre-seed investors out, so you don't have to worry about all these people that are up crazy gains already dumping on you because, they're already up crazy X's. So again, if this can come down anywhere around 30, let's say 20, 30, 40 cents, and just chill out and find some sort of bottom, this is going to be an unbelievable project, in my opinion, to be getting in. And I think from here, it's going to be a great time to just watch how the team delivers, watch how often they're updating on Twitter, and, just watch what they actually continue to do and pull off. And obviously watch what the game does. We'll see how this game launch goes in a few weeks. But like I said, I wanted to bring this up on the radar because I did just drop a video on it, and I don't want people to be, scouring their last bit of funds, to jump in right now, because whether you saw my video or not, that was not my intention, because I was talking about it and I still said very similar things, how there could be a lot of downside imminent for it, so keep watch. But either way, right now sitting at 17 million, we could see this, like I said, if it goes to 20, 30, 40 cents, we could see it hit maybe under 10 million in market cap. I'd say anything in between 5, 10 million in market cap is probably going to be a golden entry for Star Heroes here. So that's kind of what I wanted to touch on in this video today. I just wanted to clarify because, again, I don't want people to lose money. I'm very strict with how I invest in certain projects, and I want people to understand exactly my thought process going into investing in some of these, because I know in a lot of videos too, I don't even go into tokenomics, stuff like that, but I just wanted to make it clear so you guys don't just blindly ape and then you wonder why you're down 40, 50, 60%, in 2 weeks, and you're like, oh, well, maybe, because you didn't watch a full video through, or, you just saw the thumbnail on YouTube. So just want to make that very clear with everyone. So that's what I got for you guys today. Definitely keep this one on your radar, because again, I do think this is going to do very well in the long term, depending on the game, depending on how the team delivers. And obviously, like I said, I will be waiting for the chart to hit any sort of entry areas, any good DCA / just beautiful entry areas, excuse me. Again, if it does something like this, bounces, that right here, that will be your entry. I'm telling you right now. That'll be the golden entry for not even just this game, any single project that you find on the market that you're looking for long-term growth in. That's going to be your entry. So that's what I got for you guys today. Hope you found some value in this, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.